Hi, welcome and welcome back. And thank you for continuing on this journey. Just a word before we begin. I've been a traveling person and I'm in Chicago and in a space that may not be entirely quiet. So please, I beg your indulgence this week, which continues. This week has continued to bring a surfeit of complex thoughts, feelings, responses, and reactions. Personally, I have swung from hope and optimism to fear and anxiety and back again. In between, there is uncertainty, frustration, and anger. But then we have experienced such inspiration in this past week. We are proud, grateful, and newly confident. We are skeptical, cynical, and guarded. We continue to try to find a comfortable place, a place of balance and equanimity, a place where we feel stable, solid, secure, where the ground feels firm under our feet. I was moved by much that the president said in his inaugural address. But there was a phrase that he used that reminded me of a powerful Jewish idea. President Biden said, "Our history has been a constant struggle between the American ideal that we're all created equal and the harsh, ugly reality that racism, nativism, fear, demonization have long torn us apart. The battle is perennial and victory is never assured." In Jewish tradition, we speak of Yerushalayim Lamala and Yerushalayim Lamata, the heavenly Jerusalem above and the earthly Jerusalem below. Lamala means above, Lamata, below. As you might imagine, the heavenly Jerusalem is the place of our dreams and aspirations, of our best selves, our noblest impulses, our highest ideals fulfilled. The heavenly Jerusalem is a vision of unity, of harmony, of perfection, and most of all, peace. The earthly Jerusalem is a physical space and a physical place of brick and mortar, of real people who befriend each other and fight with each other, who get along famously and who engage in terrible hostility. It is a place of entrepreneurship and political horse trading, of leaders and scoundrels, of public servants and shameless grifters, of dirt and noise and traffic, and a Shabbat quiet that exists nowhere else on earth. It is a very real, human, complex, and imperfect place. It is an earthbound Jerusalem that nevertheless points to another, better, higher realization of our hopes and longings. The two Jerusalems, however, remind us that all human endeavor begins here on earth. Judaism has always maintained a clear focus on reality while acknowledging our aspirations to something higher and better for all of humanity. The Torah is replete with examples of coming to terms with a current reality, even while legislating for the possibility of future perfection. For example, the Torah is a document that not only envisions peace, but commands us to make peace where there is strife. And yet, as a realistic guide to life, it recognizes the existence of war and sometimes even the necessity of war. But it seeks to make war as humane as possible. Individuals are exempt from serving in the armed forces, in the army, if they have married but have not yet enjoyed a year with their spouse. They are exempt from serving in a war if they have built a new house but have not yet lived in it, or if they have planted a vineyard but have not yet harvested it. All such individuals are exempt from service until the circumstances of their lives change or are fulfilled. In addition, we are commanded, when you lay siege to a city, fighting against it to capture it, do not destroy its trees. Do not cut them down. Clearly, the Torah recognizes the existence of war, even while it represents a different worldview. One more example. Among its most basic and profound teachings is that every human being is equal to every other. The entire focus of the Torah is on the concept of freedom as expressed in its central narrative of the Exodus from Egypt. And yet there are rules in the Torah that govern the existence of slaves and are especially explicit when a slave, given the opportunity to go free, chooses to remain enslaved. We read in the book of Exodus, when you acquire a Hebrew slave, he shall serve 6 years. In the 7th year, he shall go free without payment. But if the slave declares, I love my master and my wife and children, I do not wish to go free, his master shall take him before God. He shall be brought to the door or the doorpost, and his master shall pierce his ear with an awl, and he shall then remain his slave for life. Even as the Torah envisions a perfect world, it deals realistically, practically, and humanely with this one. Perhaps there is some guidance here for us. Many of us feel as if the world we are now living in is not the world we lived in just 4 years ago, or 2 years ago, or 10 and a half months ago, or 3 weeks ago. We keep wanting it to go back to the way it was. We keep wanting a return to normalcy. I believe that one of the lessons of our tradition is that reality usually entails some kind of compromise, some kind of an accommodation, some kind of acknowledgement that this is not what we want now or ultimately, but we are going to find a way to make the best of what we have. I believe this last week has brought us just this sort of reckoning. We have a new president, but the challenges are beyond imagining. We have a vaccine, but rollout and distribution is uneven, unpredictable, and frustrating. We have a change of administrations, but some of the ugliness that emerged in the last one and in this very month has taken on a life of its own that is leaving us feeling quite vulnerable and even frightened. So it is time to breathe. Let us find our meditative, reflective positions, sitting in our places or on the floor, against a wall, walking, whatever works best for you, whatever is most comfortable for you. If you are sitting, let us plant our feet firmly on the floor. Let us lay our hands in our laps. Helps to release a bit of tension. Let us close our eyes or focus on clearly at some point in front of us. Let us give our bodies a little bit of a let go, a shake, a signal that this is going to be different. And let us take that first big, deep, wonderful breath. Remembering that this may inspire, it may engage the muscles that make us yawn. That's fine. That means you're letting go. That means you're allowing your body to relax and to feel the intake of breath fully, deeply. Pause with the fullness of it. Oh, and then just let it out. You may want to blow it out. Let us take it in. And let us let it out. And once more. And as we take in that breath, let us feel other muscles let go, release, retreat perhaps, and relax a bit. Let us breathe in the reality of today. Whatever that reality might be for you. It could be a pain in a leg, in your back, in your hands. It could be some frustration that you are now breathing in but letting go. It could be a bit of good news with which you might fill up and then just let go. Let us breathe in this moment, its reality for you. Let us even try to let go. Let go of whatever brought us here. We can breathe it out. We are just here right now. Everything else we will put on hold. As we feel that wonderful sensation of just being aware of breathing. And perhaps we might breathe in the message of these stirring words. Together we will write an American story of hope, not fear, of unity, not division, of light, not darkness. Let us breathe in that hope, that unity, that light, and breathe out that fear, and breathe out that division. And breathe out that darkness, and let us not be disturbed at this moment by thoughts that it's not just us, that it's dependent on so many others. Let us breathe in that possibility of hope, not fear, of unity, not division. of light and not darkness. A story of decency and dignity, love and healing, greatness and goodness. May this be the story that guides us, the story that inspires us, and the story that tells ages yet to come that we answered the call of history. We met the moment. Let us breathe in that decency and dignity and breathe out the crassness, the disrespect that we have witnessed. Let us breathe in love and healing in the face of pain and hurt. Let us breathe in greatness and goodness and breathe out any diminution of a vision of ourselves. Let us breathe out the effects of those who would bring us down. And let us breathe in democracy and hope. Truth and justice did not die on our watch, but thrived. That America secured liberty and home and stood again as a beacon to the world. That is what we owe our forebears, one another, and generations to follow. So with purpose and resolve, we turn to those tasks of our time, sustained by faith, driven by conviction, devoted to one another and the country we love with all our hearts. Let us breathe in. Let us breathe in our devotion to those ideals. And let us breathe out any threatened destruction of them. Let us breathe in our embrace of that historic vision and breathe out those who would deny it. Let us breathe in the greatness we know we can accomplish, that we have accomplished, that we must accomplish. And breathe out any abdication of that responsibility, any temptation to give in to the forces of darkness. As Jews, as human beings, as Americans, we have known and will continue to know those who do not share our purpose, our focus, our determination. They have always been there. They've always challenged us. And we keep reaffirming what we believe over and over and over again. It tires us. It exhausts us. It makes us ask how much longer, how often, Why do we have to keep confronting those forces? The answers to those questions are subject for another time. For now, let us breathe in that is what we do. And breathe out even the thought that we might not. That is our mission historically, to continue to make this world right. To continue its creation in partnership with a God that saw perfection, that asks us to work in that direction. By way of closing, I would share with you that this Wednesday night and Thursday is our annual observance of Tu B'Shvat, the new year of the trees. In case you have forgotten from your religious school days, this is the time of year when we are deep into winter in this country. But the signs of spring are just beginning to emerge in the land of Israel, thus reinforcing our connection to the land of our people, its times and seasons. As Rabbi Rachel Barenblatt has said of this holiday, it seems appropriate that this holiday remind us to pay attention to what's unseen. The outside world may be covered with snow, but deep down under the snow, the roots of the trees are soaking up the water that will feed the sap that will support next summer's verdant greenery. At least that's what Jewish tradition teaches. Our work is to trust in the spring that you can't yet see. Torah says that human beings are like trees of the field, and we too have hidden undercurrents that aren't always visible to the naked eye. As we move through this midwinter full moon, what is rising in us? What hopes are we nurturing deep down in our most sacred heart? What yearnings are enlivening us, even if we haven't spoken them aloud? Rabbi Barenblatt continues, that's what Tu B'Shvat is about for me. The sap of our hopes, the sap of our dreams, the sap that with our work in the world. Imagine your feet planted in the earth like roots. Reach down deep into the earth and draw up the sustenance you need. With every beat of your heart, you can draw up more hope and more of the energy you'll need in order to create. On the outside, the world looks like winter, but in the heart of every tree, the first stirrings of spring are rising. On this full moon, midwinter day, let us celebrate what is rising in us. God bless. May it be a good week. And I will see you next week. Please God. Thank you.